What's going on, YouTube? My name is John. Today might be one of the greatest days in the zombies community. A mystery, or an Easter egg, I should say, that we have been debating and arguing over for almost 7 years now has finally been solved. We have an answer now to who is the blank portrait from Kino Der Toten and 5. If you don't remember, on Kino Der Toten, you would enter the room where Mule Kick is, and there would be the 4 portraits of our characters, and then there'd be a large one, and we speculated about this portrait for years. Who could it be? Could it be Gersh? Could it be Maxis? It could be anybody. Monty, the Shadow Man? We had no idea. We just speculated about this for years. And then we saw the portrait come up again in 5. This time it was Richtofen in that blank portrait again. And we never had an answer. Time went on, but now 7 years later on Classified, we may finally have an answer to who is the blank portrait from Kino Der Toten and 5. To do this, you have to complete a little mini Easter egg. It starts by picking up the Bowie knife. You're then going to find 4 or 5 paintings around the first level of the map, each with a different president. What you need to do is knife that portrait with a Bowie knife, and then it will be corrected. So what you're looking for is a portrait of a president that is slanted. So there should be a Washington one, there should be a Jefferson one, there should be a Lincoln one, there should be a Taft one, and I believe a Woodrow Wilson one, if I'm not mistaken. Or if not, Wilson Truman. I forget who exactly. Either way, you're just looking for crooked portraits. There should be 5 of them, and you're going to knife them. There's one in each room of the first floor. Once all 5 are done, what you need to do is go into the panic room. From the panic room, you're going to go up to the blank portrait and hold X, and this is when the magic starts. You'll notice in that room originally, there's just a portrait of Richtofen and then the blank portrait. Well, holding X on the blank portrait reveals it to be Nikolai, and then Richtofen, the Richtofen portrait then becomes blanked out. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. The blank portrait on Kino Der Toten and 5 turns out to be Primus Nikolai. Now you see this and you go, why? This is weird. Well, the first thing I'll say is that this was most likely not the original intention. So when they were writing the storyline back in Kino Der Toten, they were kind of making it up as they go. They were sailing the ship as they were building the ship. And I don't think, for example, a designer, or maybe even say Jimmy Zielinski, whoever, put that portrait into Kino and said, this is going to be Primus Nikolai. We're going to just leave it a mystery, and maybe come Black Ops 4 will reveal it. No, nothing like that. I think they just incorporated the blank portrait. They maybe had an idea, but it was never anything set in stone. So in the future, Jason Blundell and Craig Hewson, when they're writing Black Ops 4, decided to revisit it and said, we're going to put Primus Nikolai here. Like, I think when they were working on Kino Der Toten and they incorporated that blank portrait, the concept of Primus and Ultimus didn't even exist yet. The idea that there were multiple Nikolais, no, that didn't exist. So this is almost like a bit of retconning, but officially, canonically, the blank portrait is Primus Nikolai, and it makes a little bit of sense. Nikolai is a character who is really emerging in the zombie storyline to be incredibly important, especially when you consider that Craig Hewson has described Nikolai as his favorite character. Well, Craig Hewson is the lead writer, and he would probably have an affinity for Nikolai if Nikolai goes on to do something incredibly significant or important. Perhaps he makes a sacrifice, or perhaps he does something in a future map that alters the zombie storyline forever, or perhaps closes up and wraps things up in the zombie storyline. So if this isn't already setting off alarm bells in your head that Nikolai could be the key to saving everything and correcting everything that's gone wrong, then they should be going off right now full force, because Nikolai is going to be incredibly important, and I recommend you stay tuned to Nikolai's story, especially within Blood of the Dead. If you listen to some of Nikolai's quotes in Blood of the Dead, the way it talks, it's almost as if he's got something going on. Maybe he's going to turn the group away from Richtofen, or maybe he's going to make a sacrifice or a decision that leads us on a path to a better tomorrow. Regardless, he's going to be important moving forward. Otherwise, he wouldn't be foreshadowed in this blank portrait. Especially now, it seems as though we're starting to wrap up this Ether storyline, and if we're really starting now to get these hints that are big foreshadowing events, then there must be building towards something greater with Nikolai. And remember back in Black Ops 2 when the Weasel said, Nikolai, 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 why do I keep hearing that name? Well, In Mob of the Dead, the Weasel was the focal point of that Easter egg. He was the one that needed redemption. He had to kill the other mobsters and get his revenge in an effort for them to break the cycle and leave their purgatory. Well, now it seems as though our characters are trapped in purgatory, and maybe now Nikolai is the focal point. This is leading up, of course, right into his map within Gorod Krovi, so maybe it's Nikolai's opportunity to break the cycle, and that's why he has these parallels to the Weasel, and all of this is being foreshadowed by the blank portrait. It's getting exciting. We're building to something really incredible in the Ether storyline, and I recommend you guys stay tuned. If you want, you can subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be covering the zombie storyline as we get new information, so if you enjoyed this video, I'm sure you'll enjoy the next one. Have a wonderful day, and bye.